for these oppressive nations. Among them, Israel and Morocco. They're playing a very negative role in Africa. And comrades, I'm being frank here because
Pragmatic, right?
In this room,
okay, guys,
you are.
Greetings.
When I got the message from
Depending
Comrade
on
Irvin
location,
Jim
I want you to listen
that
to
NUMSA
this
would consider
minister.
me speaking at a
This
conference
woman,
of NUMSA,
she
I
without
must say
missing
initially
any
I was
word,
very shocked.
she gave Africa a very
Because
simple
I'm quite
solution,
a conservative type
which
of person.
many African leaders has
But
been grappling
I really
with,
thank NUMSA for the
such,
invitation
solution
and the
or such
opportunity to
questions,
speak about some of the work
will I say
that we do.
To get
I begin by thanking the comrades from Palestine who have
this type
spoken,
of solution.
and I greet
She
them
gave
most
it to you
warmly.
because
Welcome
she
to
is
South
pragmatic.
Africa.
I want you to listen to
I
this
also
woman
greet
from
Comrade
South Africa. She's
Ronnie
the
Castro,
Ministry of Foreign
a
Affairs in
veteran
South
who
Africa.
doesn't tire.
Listen
I don't
to
know
what
where
she
you
said,
get this energy.
how she took her
He
stance.
sends me messages
And
at
then you
3
compare
a.m.
it to
You
the
must
video,
issue a
earlier video
statement
that I
on this.
posted about
Why
Nelson
are you
Mandela.
saying nothing
For
on
you
that?
to see
Comrade
that there is
Ronnie, there
something
you are. He
about South
takes
Africa.
advantage because he
You
knew
might
my
see them
father.
as something else, but
He thinks
there is
that he's
something
my
about them.
father.
Whenever anybody,
But I'm very glad
those of
to
them
be here.
in
I begin by
politics,
saying
especially
the
in
world is a very
politics,
troubled
when
place,
they speak
and I don't
how
want us to
they give
pretend
their own solution
that
and
it is
how they
easy.
speak
It's
without
not.
missing their words.
We are
These
faced
are
with a very
something
challenged
many
world.
African leaders
I
are grappling
realized
with.
this when
Some
in
of them, they speak
2021 I
without
was
being,
sitting
pragmatic,
in a
and
summit
too much
of the
speech
Executive
without
Council of the
any
African
work.
Union,
It is useless.
and it was
I always
whispered
say
to
that,
me
but I want you to listen
that
to
the
this
African
lady,
Union
how
Commission
she actually gave a
chairperson
solution
had
on
issued
how
an
Africa
invitation
would be
to
able
Israel
to get
to
their
become an
freedom.
observer
And this
at
is
the
exactly
African Union.
a very, very important, crucial
Imagine
solution.
my horror.
Africa
I
has the
decided
right
at that
to start,
moment that I would raise my
by
arm
boycotting
and
Africa.
would
Africa has
propose
the
that
right
this
to
decision
boycott
be rescinded.
or sanction any other
I
nation.
walked around the room
And
seeking
that is exactly what I
supporters.
derived from what this woman said.
Of
She is
the
very,
54
very eloquent
nations, I
about
got
it.
3.
I know that African Union is divided
And I include
because of
SADC
what is
in that.
happening in Israel, because they want to take stands
But I said,
on where their
nevertheless,
masters are taking stands on.
This is not going to
They
happen.
want to stand where Europe
I
and
therefore
America are
lifted
standing
my arm and
without
said I
knowing
wish to
that they
table
have
a
their
matter.
own opinion, and their
I have
opinion
learned
is
of
supposed
this,
to matter to them, and they're
and as
supposed
South
to stick
Africa,
to
we
their
object
opinion.
to it,
And this is how,
and it must not be
they
implemented.
are
We
always
want our
being the
leaders to
followers.
discuss it.
Of course, the reason why
And
Africa
we
is
will
not
never
doing
accept
well
it
is
as South
because
Africa.
their
And while we
political
appreciate
leaders are stooges of
the
West,
role that the
they are
Organization of
controlled,
African Unity
they are
played
used to, they
in
are
us
being
achieving our
used.
freedom
They are actually
as
given
South
a
Africa.
narrative to push, and they push it, and
This
they drag us into this narrative. That's
decision
why we are not
of the
never
AU
moving
Commission
forward. But
chairperson
enough is enough.
will make
Listen
us
to this
consider
woman.
whether we can be present in the African Union. I thought I would get support from many of the countries gathered in the room. But what I discovered is that countries that are oppressors, that continue to be colonial occupiers, are using financial muscle to provide grant in aid to African countries and secure the depoliticized support of African countries for these oppressive nations. Among them, Israel and Morocco. They're playing a very negative role in Africa. And comrades, I'm being frank here because you, in this room, you are supposed to be trade union leaders, many of you, or you lead progressive organizations, and you are failing in your duty to convince governments in Africa and all other countries of the South that they cannot tolerate such situations. It can't be left to us as members of government to be the ones that take up these issues with no word from progressive organizations. This is intolerable and cannot continue. So I'm hoping out of this conference that you are going to decide, rise up, rise up, rise up. Don't say what's Comrade Naledi doing. That decision on Israel hasn't been implemented, and it won't be while I'm still there. But what are you going to do? You should be talking to all progressive unions worldwide. The unions in the United States of America, weak or strong, should be making it clear to President Biden they don't appreciate his statement, which has led to the slaughter we are seeing today. The union movement in the United Kingdom should be doing the same. If we know our work, I have no idea what has happened to our organizational capability. Because as South African leadership, our trade union movement was able to marshal under the worst oppressive chains. We were able to marshal international solidarity of a kind that has not been seen since the struggle against apartheid. Where have all these progressive leaders gone and why? Why are we not able to organize? Why are we only sitting in a room as 300? There should be 3,000 here. There's something wrong, and that's why I'm saying we're in a troubled world. And we need to recognize that the world has shifted. Because what has happened is, in a determined fashion, progressive values and principles have been hacked and hacked and hacked, and it is now difficult to find a voice of the left. And we need to revive. We need to organize. We need to be smart. We need to be strategic. And one thing I've realized is making good speeches does not assist. I may feel good that I had the right rhetoric at that platform, but if the next day my rhetoric has not led to action, my speech was useless. So I hope out of this, NUMSA is going to lead a process where Comrade Irvin Jim and Comrade Chirwa will meet with their counterparts in all unions, whatever they are, and say, as South African trade union movement, let us lead. Let us lead. Let us agree for 1 month. None of our unions are going to lift any Israeli goods out of any transport. Just one thing. And let us see whether our leadership has convening power or not. This week coming, a number of proposed resolutions are going to come before the United Nations. We must keep our eye on that process. We must ensure it's the right kind of resolutions. Today, the people of Palestine are in need of help. They need medical supplies. They are unable to bandage wounds. They cannot provide help. Médecins Sans Frontières is doing a good job. They are absolutely there, but they are also being decimated. What are we going to do about that? Let's ask every South African, there are 62 million of us, they say. All of us must donate one thing, food or medical goods. And let us persuade an airline to take them all to the Egyptian border with Palestine and deliver those goods. Let's do something, comrades. Let's stop talking, because the world is in a terrible place, and all it needs are a few good men and women, are organizers, strategists. And not to organize because you're NUMSA only, but to organize everybody. What we have to put aside if you want to change the world are divisions between us. Because it doesn't make any sense to believe that I must be the most progressive, the most left, the most radical, and the world is suffering. The most progressive thing is to unite and get action. And that's what I hope you're going to begin to do. So anyway, on my story, on the presence of Israel as an observer in the African Union, I have managed to pause it for now with the support of my president, but it's not off the table in the AU. So again, I'm asking you, pay attention. Having said that, because I prepared very hard, I'm going to present my speech. And I begin by saying, one of the things we must realize is the developing South is caught in the middle of rising global tensions.